Hello and welcome back. My name is Rendi, and today I'm continuing my level 3 1 of 1 series where I take on challenges in the game on my unique level 3 account. This, of course, being the lowest combat possible in old school RuneScape. This account has a lot of unique achievements already, including Boss KC, a Fire Cape quest, and more that no other level 3 skiller or less than a handful have acquired in the game. In this series, I'll be taking on tasks with weird, unorthodox methods, usually never before seen, so once again join me in learning unique aspects of this game after playing it for over 20 years while overcoming some of the weirdest challenges that this game has to offer. And if you want to check out the whole 1 of 1 series on this level 3 account, I'll link the playlist to this series in the description below. And lastly, I wanted to mention if you're enjoying my content lately, then please subscribe to the channel. So today I have a lot of Vengeance alts along with Retribution alts that are already bonded, and I wanted to take advantage of this and use them to do some more various combat tasks that I left untouched on purpose before because of the extreme complexities and the thought that these combat achievement tasks might in fact be utterly impossible. If you've been keeping up with the series, you'll know I've been trying to just complete every single combat task that I can do to retain my hard health, being the only level 3 skiller in the game that actually has this item. I'm trying to maintain this because Jagex continues to update their game, adds more bosses to the list, some which a level 3 can't do, and I'll constantly be pushing towards the threshold of retaining my hard health. So just completing a bunch of combat achievements is not my end goal or even the main purpose of this account, but it adds to the completionist mindset I have, and it adds a little bit more unique tasks that no other level 3 has done. And to be honest, well, it just makes for a lot more interesting content for me to put out on my YouTube channel here. I'm also going to be, unfortunately and likely, wasting some combat XP in today's episode, so the tasks I take on here today have to be done perfectly and pre-tested prior, and preferably done in one try. And this is because I obviously only have so much XP to gain before I hit level 2 in a stat, and that is because once again I'm a level 3 combat skiller with all 1 stats on this account. So to be more specific, the main combat achievement task I wanted to focus on today is the Chitin Penetrator, which, as the title says, technically should not be possible, and no level 3 has yet done this. This is because I would somehow need to lower the Kalphite Queen's defense level on my level 3 last, as well as get the kill credit on this level 3. Now, I've already gotten Kalphite Queen kill credit on this level 3, and a few episodes back I took on some Kalphite Queen kills and all the other tasks for this Kalphite Queen, but this one was left untouched because of the possibility of it not even being possible till now. Before now taking on the near impossible Kalphite Queen task in today's video, I gotta give a shout out to our sponsor who also makes the near impossible possible, and that is offering healthy, affordable meals. HelloFresh is the sponsor of today's video. Mix and match lifestyle options to suit your needs like fit and wholesome, family friendly, quick and easy, vegetarian, and more. Even pescatarian, which I sometimes forget myself I am. And everything can be tailored to your schedule by just adjusting your delivery date and even skipping a week when you're not able to cook at home. They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and HelloFresh agrees. In fact, they're giving all subscribers free breakfast for life. That means you'll enjoy a totally free breakfast item with every single HelloFresh delivery as long as your subscription is active. HelloFresh saves me time, money, and gives me quick and easy meals to make here at home that are healthy and good for my soul. If you can't tell, I'm on a health binge lately, so what are you waiting for? Help my channel out. Use my promo code RendiMAR10 or use the QR code or the link in the description below to get free breakfast for life as well as 10 free meals along with your first HelloFresh purchase. I'm serious. The convenience, the health, all of it is great with HelloFresh. So how was I to lower the Kalphite Queen's defense bonus and complete this task if a level 3 technically has no way really of lowering stats? I mean, I can't even use the curse spell because of my magic level being 1, and even if I could with some insane magic boost, I would likely splash so many times that it would level my magic to level 2 and ruin my account. Technically as well, a level 3 can't complete Shadow of the Storm quest currently, as you are required to take the combat XP, or else the Darklight would have been the option, as the special attack from this weapon lowers all stats, including defense, by 5% of the base NPC's level. I also can't use a Bone Dagger special attack. I mean, I can use the Bone Dagger, but not the special attack which lowers an NPC's defense level by the amount I hit, because it requires Death to Dwarvish completed to use this special, and completing that quest gives a ton of range XP and would put me nearly at 20 range from 1 therefore once again ruining my account. But back on the idea of the Darklight special attack and using that to lower the Kalphite Queen's defense, this might actually be possible. I can't take the combat XP in the Shadow of the Storm quest for the Darklight, but then I remembered something from one of Mauler's old videos. About 5 years ago, he was able to keep the Darklight equipped at the end of the quest by doing something specific and clicking off the dialogue that prompts the XP. And this dialogue wouldn't come back up until you tried to unequip the Darklight yet again. This therefore wouldn't complete the quest by clicking off, but maybe it would allow technically for me to be able to keep the Darklight equipped as well as use the special attack as long as I did not die and had it force removed. So technically the idea behind the main task for today's video is to do Shadow of Storm to the last step, kill the demon Agrithnar with Silverlight still equipped, click off that dialogue as it dies without taking the XP, then I would have one chance to use the special attack and live in the Kalphite Queen lair, because if I die it unequips the Darklight and I can't put it back on, to therefore complete the Chitin Penetrator task. Seems like a lot of work for just one 3-point task, right? Well, that's what makes these videos interesting. Let's try it out and see if our theory persists and allows us to complete this otherwise impossible task. Oddly enough, I had this quest almost complete because I was making demonic sigils for stalls when testing the Perilous Moons quest about 6 months ago, so most of the actual quest work had been done besides the hardest part being killing Agrithnar here. Random thought, but Bozo is also a very good boy. With some weird movement, I found this way to get this NPC trapped fairly easily, sacrificing one hit to get it into a corner trap in this spot specifically for it. From here, I could then technically poison dynamite and keep wasting these poison dynamites and hope for a poison plus do some recoil damage, or try to solely rely on recoil damage. Agrithnar's max hit here is 12, so I would just need to purple sweet to full HP and sip a dose of Guthix Rest from 10 to 15 HP for each of Agrithnar's hits. If he managed to hit more than a 2 on me from my 15 over 10 HP boosted, I would then need to re-Guthix Rest yet again, or possibly purple sweet to full, then re-Guthix Rest on top of that. It would benefit me as well if he hit double digit numbers like a 10, 11, or 12, because my recoil would then do 2 instead of 1 damage. I found out though through my first attempt that I would likely not have enough Guthix Rest in my singular inventory to entirely take down Agrithnar's HP. And it wasn't his actual HP that was the problem, it was his HP regeneration rate, which was much quicker than normal, being the standard 1 per minute. We're looking at more like 3 per minute, which is quite a bit when it comes down to how long it takes to kill this boss on a level 3. So I would have to use tons of poison dynamite to get the poison hit off, or maybe use a second option that I've touched on in some other videos. That second option was to hop over to a PvP world, like I did for my Heart of Darkness quest completion video while using a grimy herb sack. I stacked 30 grimy marintles in this sack, then put 28 nearly finished Guthix Rest to the last step of the rest, herb tea mixes, into a looting bag. Destroying a looting bag with food now in a PvP world won't show the food on the ground, but almost made food, well, that's different, and that's how it's going to work with these almost made tea mixes here. What this did is it allowed me to have 28 extra 3-dose Guthix Rest that I could make inside the Agrithnar fight, and I made sure to be quick about everything I did practically here because once again his HP is regenerating at a rapid pace. Even after all of this and making them as quickly as possible, I still had tons of rest left over, and I was able to take Agrithnar all the way down with these 2 inventories now of Guthix Rest and no need at all for poison dynamite. Now to technically keep the Darklight equipped without the quest done, I would need to go in on the last recoil damage inside Agrithnar's melee zone with the dyed Silverlight equipped. So I need to make sure and step out for the last couple of hits from this NPC, which honestly I should have brought something like a couple of pizzas to combo eat to max HP hits from into Guthix Rest, but I managed to survive and recoil him within the melee zone with the Silverlight dyed equipped to turn it into a Darklight while I was still wielding it, and survived. Now though, here was the slightly tricky part. I would need to make sure and click off the dialogue so I didn't take any of the quest XP and finish the quest, or I would literally fail my entire account that I've worked so hard on over these last few months. You also couldn't traditionally move this Darklight by just taking it off, as it would always prompt the dialogue to get XP, so after all the combat tasks I take on today that possibly need this Darklight and its special attack, I would need to likely purposely die to remove the Darklight and therefore not get XP from the quest and not finish the quest. Now that I have the Darklight equipped from my quest using this mechanic, I simply had to survive and do something something similar to the KQ kills that I managed to pull off a few videos back, but this time instead bring my spec transfer alts into the body of KQ where I'll trap it and use nearly 8 of them to keep trying to energy transfer special attack and manage to pull off a hit on the level 3 of 1. I also had more strength XP than anything on this account to spare, so I would need to put the Darklight on aggressive here and lower my strength bonus, sacrificing some accuracy rolls as well here by switching my equipment up. For example, I had to use an amulet of accuracy with no strength bonus instead of a glory to hit a 1 instead of a 2 here, wasting only 4 combat XP for this task instead of 8. So I tested this entirely new method that I kept up here in my noggin on a main here with a Darklight first to make sure I would not be wasting this precious 4 strength XP on the level 3 and to make sure the task registered with the Darklight. I took the Kalphite Queen northwest, grabbed aggro here, ran down all my spec transfer alts, logged them out on this tile where I would lure the Kalphite Queen to. Then once the Kalphite Queen was trapped here, I would proceed to log in on the spec transfer alts and spec transfer to the main to make the Darklight hit while flinching in and out of its body with the Kalphite Queen, so the Kalphite Queen would never technically do any damage to the main. The plan after I hit with the Darklight was simple: teleport away to avoid damage from Kalphite Queen's AoE attacks, as this will be how I'm going to trigger vengeance on all the accounts still inside Kalphite Queen's body after spec transferring is complete, because of course I'll have vengeance runes as well as energy transfer runes on all of these accounts. I'll simply then step in and out, bash the Kalphite Queen with a cursed goblin hammer on one of the mains, which will always hit a 0 by the way because it's a splash weapon. The cursed goblin hammer here resets that 5-minute timer, so she'll never teleport away and ruin this entire kill and therefore waste my precious 4 strength XP in the process. I would then pull a vengeance on the main account hitting with the cursed goblin hammer, as well as pre-venge the other 8 accounts inside of Kalphite Queen's body to do massive damage with recoils, suffering, in some cases even Darox with an amulet of the damned on some of these accounts that had defense, and of course the vengeance spells themselves. I would then eat between each of the vengeance hits, revenge, then step back out on what I like to call the bait main and repeat this a few times, eventually killing the Kalphite Queen on all of these accounts while still remaining in her body during the entire kill and awarding the kill credit to the original account that hit with the Darklight, because the vengeance is all neutral damage and doesn't ruin the damage for the level 3, or in this case on our test being the main in Alcarid. So the task completed on this main, and now it was time for the real show. I would have to do everything I just did but perfectly, make sure I grabbed aggro on the Kalphite soldiers properly upstairs as well while running the level 3 to Kalphite Queen and the ones downstairs, as I could not afford to die with this Darklight equipped because I wouldn't be able to re-equip it. I would also wait a bit to do the Darklight damage to have less possibility of being crashed after sacrificing my initial 4 strength XP on the level 3, as this was a real possibility. People do come and kill Kalphite Queen. The plan was to also move as quickly as possible with the vengeance and eats after I got the initial Darklight hit off, which is why my accounts are geared in such excessive recoil equipment, even Darox once again on some of these. Once the KQ was lowered some initially with the vengeances, I would then safely log back in on the level 3 inside the body of it and switch the venge accounts into temporary spec transfer alts that would endlessly give my level 3 the ability to use the Darklight special attack till I eventually hit a 1 on the Kalphite Queen with my super attack pots and weird amulet of accuracy level 3 setup here. After this, I would teleport out to Alcarid on the level 3 to avoid further AoE damage from other vengeances I would have to take inside of the body of Kalphite Queen with my other accounts to finish off this kill, because once again I didn't want to die yet and unequip the Darklight, in case I was to get crashed halfway through this process and had to repeat it, or maybe because there's another combat achievement that might use this special attack. Wink wink, we'll try out later on. And I was the only real person in the room to do real damage besides neutral damage like recoil and vengeance to this Kalphite Queen, and therefore I was also the last person by using the Darklight spec to lower this NPC's defense by 5% here, and I would just need to kill it before it regened all the way back up to full defense level, which would be quite a bit of time, and I should be able to do with the excessive amount of recoil damage I have on all these accounts. After sweating like mad and hoping I did not get crashed on this account, I finally did pull off the 51st kill count and the only one like this on a level 3 account, completing the Chitin Penetrator task, a task which otherwise should not be possible. No pet though again. But there was still more I wanted to test, as I still had all these Retribution alts and Vengeance alts bonded up from the last video being Arachnus, as well as I still had my Darklight equipped and I was still alive with the possibility of using a special attack weapon. Technically the only one a level 3 can use besides a Candle Dagger from the Christmas event, which is always guaranteed to hit zeros, otherwise being completely useless. With this in mind, I took the Spec Transfer and Venge alts to Barrows to possibly give my level 3 yet another combat achievement, being the special attack one from Karils the Tainted. So for this combat achievement, I am supposed to only do damage to Karils from a special attack weapon. So the theory was to Spec Transfer over and over again from these alts and teleport out trying to hit Karils in the first minute, then instantly begin tick eating with recoils this boss down for the rest of its HP, all while not dying. I didn't think neutral damage like recoil would actually kill this task, and therefore I believed, since I'm the only level 3 with Mortania access, that this would definitely be worth the 4 strength XP for yet again another task. This would be tricky though, because I would have to get this hit off after many attempts, then once again perfectly tick eat for a good 5 minutes straight without dying, with Karils just crossbowing me to the face. Luckily though, I didn't even have to get this far with Karils, as I decided once again obviously to test this task on another account first, and recoil damage alone seemed to give the failure message for the task, and unfortunately it made it therefore impossible to do this task. This meant even neutral damage like recoils killed the task entirely, and there was no way in the 10 minutes of Barrows before a despawn am I going to kill this in any other way with only special attack weapons, much less without wasting a ton of combat XP doing so. And yes, Poison Dynamite kills this task as well, so pulling off a poison with a Poison Dynamite and then special attacking with Darklight still wouldn't register this task as completed. So other than these two tasks, the Darklight really had no purpose anymore. Therefore I just decided to die right then and there to Karils to unequip it without combat XP, therefore storing it inside of Death's Coffer, maybe for something else down the line if something ever gets changed here. The Darklight though was fun while it lasted, but this thing sketched me out to be honest, and I wanted to get it off my character as soon as possible. The video's not over yet, because the Retribution alts were still all bonded up, 7 of them from the last episode where I tried to kill Arachnus with some other combat task, and I also wanted the task now back at Scurrius to kill the rat minions, 6 of them being all within 3 seconds, technically being 1 per tick if you were to do this task normally. The theory for this task was to lower Scurrius' stats pretty much to a chicken on the main with the Arclight spec, 20 of them to be exact, then summon the rats, use Poison Dynamite on them one at a time because their defense isn't that high on these rat minions, hit them for like 2+ each so they don't regen to full, then pull in these 7 Retribution alts near their southwest tiles of all the rats in a PvP world to kill them all then with a level 50 alt, with yet another alt being a range alt with a special attack like a Ruined Throwing Axe or other AoE damage to then trigger Retribution all at once at the same time, and therefore award kill credit to my level 3 for all 6 of the rats within a very short period of time technically, since Retribution is neutral damage and it will only look at the initial 2 damage from my Poison Dynamite across all of the rats, clearing them all out with Retribution around the same 3 seconds. I would say this was much more difficult than it sounded, but to be fair, me just explaining that back and listening back to it, well, that sounded pretty difficult. I mean, this task could technically be possible, but it would require insane luck and insane clicks to get done, as well as tons of trial and error and probably thousands of dynamite at this pace. The main issue I found out here was I was still getting smashed by Scurrius' attack, as well as having to dodge ceiling damage, which wasn't reduced and could one-hit my level 3, all while trying to circle around the room and hit these rat minions with the slow stall of lighting a Poison Dynamite. I eventually found this to be a little bit easier by using a 15-second window on the respawn of Scurrius and leaving the rats up after the kill of it on a main, but it still wasn't perfect, and there was no way I could light the dynamite on all 6 of the rats before the respawn of Scurrius, and therefore he would have full stats, no longer being a chicken, and start hitting me while I'm trying to light the dynamite. This honestly was a better way though, as the damage from everything else going on in the room messed up with the lighting of the dynamite and would cancel it, making me have to repeat it over and over again. And therefore with the respawn of Scurrius, I would only have to focus on lighting the dynamite perfectly towards the end of the last few rats, which wasn't as bad but was still pretty terrible. The worst part about this though was that I could get moderate luck and either hit a bunch of zeros in the 15 seconds of the respawn, or ones, or literally anything with a 1 in 4 chance of poisoning, being Poison Dynamite's passive effect, which would then 2-hit them with Poison Splash before I could even get my Retribution alts into the room and therefore ruin the timing of the kill. And this was almost impossible with all the variables of damage in the room hitting these alts, as well as my alt specking them, which could give different hints to all of them across the board and possibly not kill them. So in order to complete this task, theoretically I would have to 1, hit more than 2 on all of the rats first try practically, 2, not roll a 1 in 4 poison chance on any of the rats, that being 6 in the room, and 3, somehow sync all the retri alts to quickly die in the room at the exact same time with everything else going around in the room, as well as somehow hitting all of these accounts for the same damage using something like a Ruined Throwing Axe. And 4, I had to sync all of this up within like a 30-second time period, which wasn't as luck based but still was extremely hard to pull off. It was maybe technically possible, but I have a feeling this would have taken me literal weeks to complete, so we'll put it on the back burner for now. If anyone has any further or easier ideas on how to complete this, there probably is one out there, I just haven't thought yet further into it, so let me know in the comments maybe what you're thinking there. And because I still have these Retribution alts bonded though, I wanted to try one last thing with them, and that was the Lizardman Shaman task. One being just to kill one of them, and the second being to kill it without ever taking damage on the ones under mulch. Technically both of these tasks should be possible in 1 kill count, and I could take the aggression on 2 mains down under mulch and run around like an idiot dodging their damage, then send in a Poison Dynamite level 3, and lastly finish off that kill on the Lizardman Shaman with Retribution neutral damage on venomed alts, standing under the body of these NPCs with range protect on as I'm moving them around the room on the 2 mains. There was a problem with this plan though, and it wasn't the one I suspected to be the issue of the most. That was, you can't even use Poison Dynamite on Lizardman Shamans. It just doesn't let you use dynamite on these NPCs for some reason, and risking XP on a task like this with all the variables going on around it is something I would want to do very last in this account when I know I have the XP to spare, not something I want to touch on right now, as already my XP from the Fire Cape and other things is cutting it close to level 2 stats on this skiller. But yeah, for some reason you just can't use Poison Dynamite on Lizardman Shamans, so that idea was entirely scrapped. Now I could not end this video on a handful of failures though, and I needed something to conclude with, something epic, something that once again could result in failure and a sacrifice of combat XP that I possibly did not want, and that was the Weed Whacker task at Hespori. So each of the seedlings at Hespori I found out are going to cost me 1 range XP, and I needed to kill all 4 perfectly without delay, and the use of darts, all while surviving Hespori's attacks, which can technically one-hit me with the range attack being an 8/8. I'm going to possibly wait for 1 Hespori hit to only get 1 hit between the 4 dart throws for less of a chance of death. That was the plan at least. I therefore planted the Hespori, waited a couple of days, and here we were. I had about 40 range XP to spare almost, and really there's nowhere else I'm planning to use this range XP, but it was already scuffed anyways, and I might as well get a combat achievement task out of it for a little bit of a sacrifice of XP here. I just can't get extremely unlucky several times in a row, as well I have to be perfect timing under pressure and under the risk of losing range XP. So let's see how this goes. After a few attempts and just 1 death of seeing how the room is played out here, as I've never actually been inside Hespori, I did complete this task. Luckily, you don't have to kill Hespori to complete this task like all the other Hespori tasks, because Hespori would actually be impossible to defeat on a level 3 account, much less many other restricted accounts, even my Defense Peer Iron Man. And that's because Hespori is basically just immune to everything including poison and recoils, and it's an instanced NPC, meaning I can't get outside help from other accounts. But I got this task done technically first try with the sacrifice of range XP, only removing 4 range XP possibly from my account, and I had plenty of range XP to spare till the next level being level 2. And once again, I had a new unique task under my belt on this account. I did waste a lot of time at Scurrius and in the Lizardman Shaman room testing things around, but as you can see, a lot of the testing and experimentation I do result in some very niche game knowledge, and I always learn something new taking on new tasks in these videos, and that's what counts. I love learning new things about this game constantly. It's honestly never ending, and that's why I love playing RuneScape. But despite all the failures, we still got a couple tasks done, one being one that should probably not even be possible, and many more challenges await us in the future on this very unique 1-of-1 level 3 skiller account. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Once again, if you want to watch the full series, the level 3 1-of-1 skiller series playlist is in the description below. And be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content here. It helps me out immensely, and we're almost at 160,000 subscribers. In fact, we might be there by the time this video is published. So big thank you to you all, and I'll see you again here in a couple of weeks.